Hello and welcome to Hard Copy from our channel's television studios in Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. For millions of Nigerians in Nigeria's northwest, insecurity is now a way of life. From Zamfara to Katsina, Kaduna to Sokoto and Kebbi, communities that once thrived on farming and commerce now live under the constant threat of bandits and terrorists. Since President Bola Tinubu assumed office in May of 2023, the region has witnessed one devastating attack after another. In August of 2023, bandits swept through communities in Maru and Zurmi in Zamfara, killing dozens and forcing entire villages to flee. Then came that tragedy of December of 2023 when a military drone strike intended for criminal elements mistakenly hit civilians celebrating Maulud in Tudumbiri in Kaduna, killing at least 85 people. Just 3 months after, the world watched in horror as more than 280 pupils and teachers were abducted from Kuriga in Kaduna, one of Nigeria's largest school kidnappings in years. In April of 2024, more than 20 people were killed in an attack on the mining community of Gobirawa, Chali in Zamfara, exposing the dangerous alliance between illegal mining and armed criminal gangs. Across Katsina and Zamfara, hundreds more have been killed, abducted, or displaced, while villages have been emptied by fear. In Sokoto and Kebbi, the emergence of Lakurawa terrorist group has opened an entirely new front, extending the reach of violent extremism across Nigeria's northwestern border communities. Families continue to pay ransoms. Farmers abandon their lands, schools shut their doors, and criminal gangs impose illegal taxes on communities they now effectively control. Even as the military recently claimed a major breakthrough with the reported killing of hundreds of bandits under Operation Fasanyama, the question remains, if victories are being recorded, why do so many communities still feel like they're under siege? The presidency insists that military action alone cannot win this war, arguing that sustainable peace will come through stronger community engagements, local intelligence, youth empowerment, and rebuilding trust between government and the people. But can dialogue succeed where decades of violence have hardened divisions? Can communities reclaim spaces where criminals have become de facto authority? Tonight on Hard Copy, we continue our inquest into community engagements in the war against insurgency. I speak with the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement for the Northwest, Abdullahi Tanko Yakasai. Despite government assurances, are Nigerians in the Northwest living with a crisis that has refused to end? Mr. Yakasai, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you so much, Kyla. Thank you, our viewers. A very good evening.
When you hear about all these things happening in the Northwest and you are in charge of the community engagements for the Northwest, how are we doing with security in the Northwest in your view?
Okay, thank you so much. I want to start by saying this insecurity challenge did not just start now. From the time His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, we've been having this challenge. So it's not something that's just happening in this government. And I know people are very worried and terrified, but gradually we're making successes in arresting the situation. Some routes that are never motorable, people now drive by day, by night. I give you an example. From Abuja to Kaduna, we know what it was. People cannot travel on a daily basis. We've had issues of kidnappings, terrorism, and what have you. But now, hardly do you hear any kidnapping along the Abuja-Kaduna. People travel by road, even though there's massive road construction, but people are flying that road with ease. So it is in Kaduna to southern part of Kaduna, Zango and Kataf. We know what it was during the campaigns when we went there with Mr. President. That place is a no-go area. But as it is now, with the effort of our security forces under the leadership of the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Badu, and in collaboration with the state government, that's the governor of Kaduna State, that area is now almost violent-free. People do their businesses on that southern Kaduna part, which was never, motorable before this, the advent of this.
But there was a kidnapping in Jaba not too long ago.
Yes, but you have just one or two. But before it was on daily basis. Kyla, if you remember, those places, you cannot dare go there. Zamfara was a very, very terrible place previously. But now you can see there's relative peace in Zamfara State. Zamfara was the hardcore of these criminals. But since the last time when Mr. President instructed, about 2 years ago, instructed the Minister of State to go there, relocate to Zamfara State and Sokoto State, and make sure these bandits, these kidnappers, these terrorists are dreaded, Zamfara is relatively seeing peace. Now, if you talk about the towards end part, Kano, we've had Kano, Jigawa, there's not much of that happening. We thank God for that. And then if you go towards the top northwest, that's Sokoto, Kebbi, that place where more or less like sharing border with our neighboring countries. So a lot of these people use our porous borders to come into the country, perpetrate this evil, and run away. So if you're fighting insurgency, you cannot just do it with a kinetic approach. You have to use both, kinetic and non-kinetic. So that is why we as community engagement team of Mr. President, we have town halls meetings to tell people that community policing should not just be left in the hands of the securities. People living in those neighborhoods, because these are not aliens. They are people living within the communities. So it is very important that we continue to engage people in that region, in those areas, to say, look, government alone cannot do it. We, as people, we must be looking out for people with suspicious characters that come to stay in your neighborhood. People should open their eyes. If they see people that have tendencies of criminality, they should report immediately. That was what has been happening in Kano during the Boko Haram, before this administration. Kano people, if they see people come to reside in their area and they notice their movement, they don't see you till late at night. And before it's down, you are out of that place. You only come middle of the night. People who ask questions, they should take those kind of reports to police for them to immediately arrest the situation. So apart from that, what I want to say is, because they have been so dreaded in that area, they have now changed their tactics, because they are now using the ranches we have, and they've moved to the North Central. They've moved to Niger, they've moved to Kwara. What is happening in Kwara is very unfortunate, because Kwara used to be very peaceful. So they use that route and come to the North Central, and they are now perpetrating their evil acts in those areas. The introduction of the state police, this is a game changer, because the local people now will be recruited by state governments. They know their neighborhood more than any other person. So with this state police now, I think we'll start to see a lot of improvement in tackling all this insecurity. You talk of 200 students that were kidnapped in Kaduna. They've all been released.
Yes, but the problem is that they were kidnapped in the first place.
Yes, they were, but they have been released. But before, you hear 400 students in Northwest, in Zamfara, in Sokoto, 500 people, 300 women and children. Now all those kidnappings in that quantum number has reduced. You just see some peaks, you understand, like 10, 15, 20. Unlike when we used to have 400 people kidnapped as if they are chickens. Tudumburi that you mentioned.
Yes.
The one that the drone strike on them. Vice President was there about 3-4 months ago. He was there. The federal government, because we took responsibility, we have rebuilt that town. I personally went to that Tudimburi to do community engagement there. There's a school there built by this administration. There's healthcare, there's clinic, there's school, even the mosque that was burnt, people were inside that the strike hit them. That has been reconstructed. They even built church so that at least, because the Christians were the one going into those mosques to rescue people. Because it's a community that is both Muslims and Christians. So because of that, federal government also built church for the communities there. I personally, as the senior special assistant to the president on community engagement, went to that school to enroll out-of-school children. And believe you me, the first time I went there to do a head count of the number of students there, we counted about 70 of them that were going to give them uniforms and all that. By the time we took their measurements and everything, we came back, those students were 400 plus. And we gave all of them uniforms. It was all in the news.
Inside that Tudimburi?
Inside that Tudimburi. I enrolled over 400 of them. Inside Tudimburi. I gave them uniforms. I gave them each 2 exercise books, one for mathematics, one for English, because I believe I've been doing that, every time I enroll out of school children, because that is part of the reason that is causing this insecurity for me.
How so?
Because these children are roaming the streets. And imagine now, we're 3 years in, our administration is 3 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Imagine a boy that was 5 years when former president, may his soul rest in peace, Muhammadu Buhari came into office. That's 2015. If that boy is 5 years, now he's 18 years. No, 16.
Years.
So he should be able to be doing something to help himself, even if he cannot help his parents. So I feel the earlier we start educating these young ones, the better for all of us. They can easily be persuaded, their minds can easily be persuaded into criminality, criminal acts. So my belief is the earlier we take these children out of the streets, educate them, once they have what they can do, even if it's a vocational training they get. If you're a carpenter in the morning, by the time you're 14, 15, just JS3, because we have changed the curriculum now. So your certificate will not come from primary school till when you get to JS3, year 9. By that time, when I was in school, I did a technical vocational school before I went to science secondary school. I knew how to use jacksaw to cut wood. I know how to bend metal. I'm an iron binder. I'm a carpenter. I'm an agriculturalist, because you must be given portion. All these things, we have to bring them back. We have let this country down. Our leaders have let this country down. We need to bring back this kind of vocational training.
So do you have the buy-in of the governors in these states? Are the political elites in these states on the same page as you, especially when it comes to taking these kids that are being used as fodder for terrorism off the street?
Well, you see, because of politics, let me give you an instance. There's a school in my community. So the headmistress of that primary school, before they resumed for the last term, which started in February, we profiled 200 Almajiris roaming the streets, and we want to enroll them. I did it with the school authority, with my office, and she helped me a lot in getting all this. Is the little I can do that I will do. So far, I've enrolled 1,100 out-of-school children since my appointment. It will surprise you, Kaila, after we finish the program, the chairman of the local government, because then the governor was not in APC, issued a query to that headmistress. He, in fact, wanted to sack her. How could she allow APC government, APC appointee to come and do a program in a school? Because the school is so dilapidated, We're trying to see how that school can be rebuilt.
He gave her a query?
He gave her a query. He gave her a query.
Do you face this a lot?
No. This is one example in my state, Kano. But now, the governor is in APC. I'm sure if we're doing anything like this,
it will be a little easier.
It will be very easy because it's politics that sometimes cause this backlash.
All right, let's go.
They will not attend, they will not participate, they will not support. But now that we're APC, the whole Northwest, the whole 7 states in Northwest, in my region, they're all APC. So we're in peace and we're working together. Let's
go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the situation in more states in the Northwest and what these community engagements have been able to achieve in the time you've been in charge. So please stay with us on Hard Copy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hard Copy. If you've just joined us, we have with us in the studio the Special Assistant to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Community Engagement for the Northwest. Mr. Yakasai, thank you so much again for being with us on the program.
Thank you once again.
All right, so let's talk about some of the worrying things we see. You see those videos on TikTok where those boys?
I don't do TikTok.
Well, on TikTok, there are these young boys, and they'll say it's ransom money that they collected for ransom. And they'll be using it as phones and taunting the Nigerian people. And they'll tell us where they are. They'll tell us where they are. Some of them are in Zamfara. Some of them are in the Northwest. And when they do all those videos, taunt, I worry in my head about the other young people. And we've talked about the fact that a lot of them are on the streets, this Almajiri problem in the North. So they're seeing this influence on social media. They are all on TikTok. And I keep wondering to myself, what am I going to tell, if I was going to talk to a child, maybe an Almajiri now, what am I going to tell him when he's seen if a child like him displaying money from kidnapping and banditry on TikTok? How do I tell this person to be an honest individual? Is that something that you worry about as well? And how do you plan to re-socialize the people?
Absolutely. You see, just like I told you earlier, this insurgency is hard to fight. But I can categorically tell you with confidence that our security architecture have been able to rescue over 11,000 people in captivity in the last 3 years. These are figures from the Office of the National Security Advisor, Malonu Rubadu. And how were we able to achieve this? It's through the technology. They're doing that. Once they can be, trapped, the security will move in there. But they roam about, and Nigeria is such a large, very big country, that we don't have the security workforce to say, okay, we're going to put all our securities in the bushes to curb the insecurity.
Is it true that a lot of these terrorists are members of the community, and that in some cases, like in Zamfara, there are people who are paying ransom? They know the parents of the boy. He lives down the road, and these people have become the de facto authority in some neighborhoods. Is there truth to this? And how are you engaging with the communities who are dealing with terrorists who are from there?
All these people, like I told you, are not aliens. They didn't come from the sky. They are human beings like every other person. So they live within the people, but they chose to be bad elements.
But you're talking to the communities. Are they aware that these are their children? And what kind of solutions are you proffering to this problem?
The number one solution, like I told you, is community engagement, stakeholders engagement, non-kinetic approach. Be talking to these people, be educating these young ones, all these teenagers, get them job to do. So we won't see the state governments doing a lot in education these children and finding them vocational training. That is the number one significant thing you can do to reduce the level. Because we need to engage these young ones. We need to educate them. We need to find them things to do. Honestly, if we don't do this, it's going to be escalated.
What are your thoughts on paying ransom? There are state governments, even in the Northwest, who believe, let us just let's pay the bandits for protection. You know, so many people have posited and said this is just kicking the can down the road. I'm only governor for 4 years or at most 8 years. Please, I don't want to have to be fighting for 8 years. They'll be killing my people for 8 years. How much can I be paying these bandits so that they'll leave my people alone? Is that something that you've encountered? And what are your thoughts on that?
You know, the governors, before the state police, they don't have control over the police. It's the federal government. But now, Mr. President has empowered them, and they need to take advantage of the state police. Because the majority of the people paying ransom is not the government. It's individuals. No matter how you source the money, even if it's to sell all you have to get your father out of the woods,
yeah, but those are
to
two
get
different
your
things.
mom
There's
out
ransom
of the
for
woods.
people that were kidnapped. Then there's the payment for protection so that your community doesn't get attacked. We saw it in Kaduna. We have some of them here. They came and they said that, oh, please, we just want to live in peace. Whatever they need, it's almost like that's the de facto authority in the place.
It's not like a de facto authority.
So that you don't have
maybe it's more or less like just a community having a vigilante. You understand? So if you know these criminals are your brothers and sisters living in the neighborhood, instead of them to be attacking their own people, make them your guards.
And be paying them.
Yes.
So you're seeing it as payments to them.
For me, I think it's helping the communities, because if you're giving them stipend to protect this area so that those bandits cannot come and kidnap people in your community, you are safeguarding your community. When we're young, it's just flowers that demarcate between my house and your house, Kyla. You know it in Kaduna, in GRA. But now, every street, you see the people come to contribute, put a gate that from 10 o'clock, they lock their gate. From end to end, every street. We don't used to have this. We have allowed long-term neglect of the social interventions that we need to be doing to people at the community level so that we make them productive. Idleness, like I said, is what is causing this thing.
That's
so
the
we
biggest
must
thing you're
educate.
noticing, really. You keep talking about this.
Yes, we must
It's the one
educate.
thing you're noticing in the Northwest is that there's so much idleness. The young people.
I cry if I see these children on the street. You go to traffic light, you see 100. You see a boy of 5 years. Where is his father? Where is his mother? He's just been sent to the street.
Since all the governors in the
It's
states in the
unfortunate.
Northwest are in the APC now.
Yes.
Okay. So what next? What are we doing about these young children?
They
What's the plan?
are having meetings between themselves. They're always engaging. Just about a month or so ago, they had a meeting, all the Northwest governors. They had a meeting. Just last week, I saw the governors in Kebbi. They were in Zamfara State. You know, they have been having meetings. It's not something we can just end it now because it didn't start just now. It's long-term decay of decades. So we need to do more. State governments need to make sure that they build primary schools everywhere, rehabilitate the existing ones because they are dilapidated. Then those philanthropists, those people that are into businesses should also come in, be part of it. It has to be holistic. They should be doing corporate social responsibility by rebuilding these schools, by doing centers. Like Dangote, he has a skill acquisition center in partnership with the Kano State government. So we need to see a lot of that coming up.
In engagement with communities, community engagements are very complex.
Very complex.
They're very complex and a little confusing sometimes. I wanted to get your thoughts on something very controversial. And the communities, even in the Northwest, had a big problem with the concept of repentant terrorists. Now, we know that from the National Assembly's point of view, they're trying to see if they can stop it because many people are against it. A lot of people don't agree with it. But it was something that the military was doing in communities that I know that you engage with. A lot of what were your thoughts? Do you think that repentant terrorists should be reintegrated into these communities?
We have to do that.
You have to?
We have to.
Why?
Because everywhere it's done in the whole world. You've never seen prisoner swap between America and Iran, between Israel and Lebanon.
But some of these repentant terrorists are the ones that now start to perpetrate acts of violence on the community.
If we do it rationally, not people bringing names because they know this family, they know that. If we're doing it rationally, yes, you've been arrested, and yes, they bring in, psychologists, test you, know that truly you're ready to repent. Maybe they brainwash you to join all this ISIS, all this Boko Haram, all this Lukra. If truly, even God will offend him and we seek for forgiveness. If truly, sincerely, someone is ready to repent and change his attitude, be a better citizen.
And the Nigerian public are going to attack you for what you just said. Because the Nigerian public are so against it.
Even the National Assembly last week.
Yes, last week they said they want to stop this.
Because people don't see that these repentants are not thoroughly checked to know they are really repenting.
Okay, so it's not being done properly.
Properly.
Okay.
If it's going to be done properly, rationally, without sentiment, even 1 out of 100, if genuinely he is ready to change, bring him back to let him be a better citizen and help the society. We, the Presidential Community Engagement Team from across the 6 geopolitical zones, we are doing a lot of, we're in communities, in committees. We had meeting with the Minister of Defense.
Oh, yes.
We're going to do zonal town hall meetings on this non-kinetic that I'm talking about, on people to take ownership of this insecurity and identify bad acts and report them. We're bringing the emirs, we're bringing the religious leaders, we're bringing the community leaders, so that we have a round-table discussion on non-kinetic approach. We're also having meeting in the Office of the National Security Advisor. We're all doing this so that we see how we can engage people is the best way to solve this problem.
I have to thank you so much, Mr. Yakasai, for making time to with us on Hard Copy.
Thank you, Kyla.
Good luck with all the engagements I know you have ahead of you.
Amen. Amen.
That's Hard Copy this week. I'm Kayla Magwa. Good night.